Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling, well, what feels like the unavoidable conversation everywhere, AI's impact. How it's fundamentally reshaping, work, wealth, human value itself.
It really is the dominant topic.
And our job, as always, is to take these complex blueprints, these strategies, and make them clear for you.
Cut through the noise.
Exactly. If you're trying to get past the headlines, trying to understand the actual operational frameworks driving change.
The how behind the what.
Right. Especially how you navigate this AI era without getting buried in jargon. Well, we're going straight to a key source today.
Okay.
We're drilling down into a specific strategic blueprint from EON Reality. It's provocatively titled The Human Intelligence Economy, IIE for short.
The human intelligence economy, that name alone, it's quite a statement.
It is.
So our mission here is to really analyze this HIE framework. It makes a very bold claim
Extremely bold.
that human intelligence, but amplified by AI, can be turned into the world's most valuable, and this is key, most liquid economic resource.
Liquid.
And we're going to hold that specific framework up against, well, the massive multi-billion-dollar national AI strategies we're seeing from global powers.
That contrast is crucial. Now, the blueprint itself, it highlights a real sense of urgency. It practically leaps off the page. They argue that even though AI innovation is soaring, great breakthroughs happening, global prosperity is actually becoming dangerously uneven.
Right, the benefits aren't spreading equally.
Not at all. And the why they give is this relentless combination of automation and digital monopolies. It's displacing workers much faster.
Much faster.
Than our traditional, often very infrastructure-heavy education systems can possibly reskill them.
It's a mismatch in speed, fundamentally. A systemic, almost light-speed problem meeting, like you said, a brick-and-mortar solution. It just doesn't compute.
Exactly.
And the founder, Dan Lajerskar, he really simplifies the pivot needed here. He says the whole point of this era must be about ensuring AI increases human intelligence and, crucially, human income.
Not just replaces it.
Precisely. Not replaces it. So this HIE framework, it's positioned as a direct countermeasure to that threat of mass displacement.
Okay, let's unpack that core idea then. Before we dive deep into the global comparisons and the economics, we need the mechanism. What is the human intelligence economy, fundamentally, and what tech actually makes it possible?
Right. So at its heart, the HIE is presented as an operational model. It connects learning, employment, and income. But the key is they're linked in a verifiable continuous loop.
Verifiable and continuous.
And the shift in thinking is critical. You're not training humans to somehow compete with narrow AI, which is frankly a losing battle in many areas.
Right.
You're equipping them to use AI to extend their own creativity, their productivity.
Using AI as a tool, not an opponent.
Exactly. Now, to actually do this, the system relies heavily on immersive technology. The blueprint lays out 4 core features enabling this loop. First, there's the EON on Virtual Campus.
Okay.
This uses extended reality, so XR environments, powered by something called spatial AI.
Well, hold on a sec. Let's not just gloss over the tech. For listeners maybe not dealing with this daily, XR, spatial AI.
Right.
Can you give us the quick, simple version? What is spatial AI, and how does it power this XR learning? How is this truly different from, say, just watching a course on Zoom?
That's a really critical distinction to make. A standard online course, even a video, is still fundamentally flat, passive.
Right. You watch, maybe take a quiz.
Exactly. XR, or extended reality, puts you inside the learning. Think VR headsets, or maybe augmented reality on a tablet. You're fully immersed.
Okay.
You're practicing complex, real-world skills like operating machinery or performing a procedure, but in a safe digital space, a spatial environment.
Got it, the aversion.
And spatial AI is the intelligence within that space. It's AI that understands the 3D environment, it tracks what the learner is doing, where they're looking in their actions, and it provides instant, personalized feedback based on that physical spatial interaction. Are they turning the valve correctly? Did they miss a step?
So it's not just watching, it's doing, and the AI is coaching you spatially in real time.
Precisely. It transforms passive knowledge intake into active skill mastery. High-fidelity practice.
Okay, that makes sense. Practical muscle memory, immediate correction, not just facts.
Yeah.
And that speed, that immediate feedback, I imagine that leads directly into the second core feature you mentioned.
It does. That's the skills, jobs, income loop. This is where the rubber meets the road, economically speaking.
Right.
The training, because it's so specific and practical, is directly linked to verified skills needed by actual local employers.
Verified by whom? The employer, the system.
The system facilitates verification, often in collaboration with employers needing those specific skills. That leads to verified employment opportunities,
Okay.
which then crucially leads to sustainable earnings for the individual. It's designed to explicitly close that gap between learning a skill and actually earning money from it quickly.
The skill-to-cash gap, as you put it.
Well, yeah.
Interesting. What were the other two features?
The third is what they term the ethical architecture. This is defined as human-centered AI, designed for transparency, inclusivity, trust, essential elements.
Essential, but often hard to pin down in practice.
True. And fourth, and this is really where the comparison to national strategies gets pointed, is the current global deployment. The blueprint claims this framework isn't theoretical. It's operational, live, in over 80 countries right now, and, they claim, achieving verifiable economic results.
80-plus countries. Okay, that immediately begs the big question, doesn't it? And this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. How does a private tech-driven blueprint, no matter how clever it seems, realistically stack up against the literally trillions being poured into the national AI strategies by government?
It's the unavoidable comparison, and the blueprint forces it.
Right. It explicitly claims that no single existing national model, U.S., China, EU, others, fully integrates speed, scale, ethics, and inclusion in the way this HIE framework claims to. That's a huge assertion.
It is, and the document provides this quite fascinating table comparing these different strategies across 14 distinct dimensions.
Okay.
So let's try to synthesize the key differences from that comparison, maybe starting with the core strategy and the ultimate goal of each.
Good place to start. U.S., China, EU. How do they differ fundamentally in strategy?
Well, look at the U.S. model, as characterized in the source. Its core strategy is really focused on driving innovation and relying on market competition.
Okay.
The primary goal is achieving and maintaining global tech leadership, dominance through innovation.
Makes sense. China.
China's strategy is described as centralized planning and achieving massive scale. The goal there is framed as national self-reliance and ultimately global AI dominance through state direction.
Very different approach.
Yeah.
And the EU.
The EU centers its strategy heavily on regulation and building trust. So its primary goal is ensuring ethical AI deployment, making AI safe and aligned with values.
Right, the AI Act being a prime example. Okay, so those are the big national players: innovation, scale, ethics. All very top-down, policy-driven goals, as you said.
Yes.
So compared to that, what is the human intelligence economy's stated strategy? How does it define itself differently?
It's defined as the human-first skills, jobs, income model, much more operational sounding.
Human first. Okay.
And their stated primary goal is also starkly different. It's not tech leadership or regulation per se. It's democratize intelligence and turn AI into prosperity.
Turn AI into prosperity. What's the stated economic outcome?
The stated economic outcome is, and this is a direct quote from their materials, direct income creation via self-funding loops.
Direct income creation, self-funding loops. Okay, I have to push back a bit here, or at least ask for clarification.
Please do.
That sounds great on paper. Self-funding. But how does that actually work in practice? Are we talking income share agreements where people pay back training from earnings? Is it microloans? How do you self-fund upskilling outside of the usual corporate or state subsidies? That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and according to the source, this mechanism is what underpins the model's claim to sustainability and scalability.
Okay.
Because the training is high fidelity, uses this efficient XR tech, and is verified, and because it's tightly linked to an actual vetted job need from an employer.
Right.
The argument is that the resulting verified employment leads to immediate income generation for the participant.
Okay, income starts flowing quickly.
Yes, and that income stream is positioned as the resource pool that sustains the loop. Essentially, they claim that by radically slashing the cost of effective training, primarily by removing the need for expensive physical buildings and large numbers of highly paid, location-bound instructors.
By using the tech, the XR, and AI.
Exactly. By leveraging the tech, they make the return on investment, or ROI, almost instantaneous for the ecosystem. The income generated by the newly employed person can cover the relatively low deployment cost of their digital training.
So the claimed 70% cost reduction versus traditional training isn't just a nice to have, it's actually the engine that enables the self-funding sustainability part. High efficiency unlocks the loop.
Precisely. That efficiency claim is central, and it directly impacts the next big contrast point: inclusion, and global reach.
Right, because lower cost means potentially wider access. How does
Yeah.
that compare?
Well, when you look at the U.S. model again, the source characterizes its human inclusion focus as heavily urban-centric.
Meaning Silicon Valley, Austin, Boston. The existing tech hubs get the focus and funding.
Largely, yes, concentrated innovation.
Okay, and how does HIE compare on inclusion?
HIE explicitly claims a 92% humanity focus, with a specific stated priority on reaching the Global South.
92%. That's basically everyone not in the wealthiest G20 urban centers.
Yeah.
How is that operationalized, though? Talk is cheap.
Right, so when the comparison assesses Global South reach, the major national models, US, China, EU, Japan, are generally listed as having low or minimal reach.
Why? Too expensive. Infrastructure barriers.
Primarily, yes. High costs, the need for significant existing digital and physical infrastructure, policy complexities. These limit practical reach into many developing regions.
And the HIE model.
It's described as being specifically designed for Global South scalability because it leans on cloud delivery and XR tech that requires minimal physical infrastructure locally. It can, in theory, be deployed and localized relatively quickly, even in areas with lower bandwidth compared to building, say, a massive new training centers.
Okay, that scalability claim hinges on the tech. Let's talk speed then. This is another area where I find the comparison, well, challenging. Apples to oranges, maybe?
How's
Well, if a major bloc like the EU is still, as the source notes, largely in a policy phase, dealing with complex regulations, figuring things out, how can this HIE framework realistically claim instant 30 days deployment? What huge technical or logistical hurdle are they just skipping?
It's a fair question. That massive gap, potentially years of policy debate versus weeks for deployment, is explained by the fundamental difference in architecture.
Okay.
National strategies, almost by definition, involve huge, often centralized infrastructure projects, data centers, educational reforms, R&D funding pipelines, plus complex political negotiation and consensus building.
Right. Bureaucracy and build-outs take time. Lots of time.
A lot of time. The HIE, on the other hand, is based on a modular cloud-based software platform using XR. The product is essentially digital content packages.
The lessons, the virtual environments, the AI coaching components.
Exactly. These digital packages can theoretically be localized language, specific job skills for that region, and deployed almost instantly via the cloud. They can leverage existing networks, even lower bandwidth ones, according to the claim.
So they're skipping the entire physical infrastructure build-out phase.
Yeah.
It's software deployment, essentially.
That seems to be the core argument for the speed difference. They bypass the bricks and mortar and much of the policy lag associated with massive government programs.
And the cost claims reinforce that speed argument too, right?
They do. While the U.S. model incurs high R&D cost and China's is labeled infrastructure heavy, HIE consistently claims that verifiable 70% cost reduction versus traditional training.
Because they eliminate the two biggest traditional cost centers.
Real estate and ongoing, large-scale, salaried instructor payrolls. The AI handles much of the personalized coaching within the XR environment.
This really highlights that they're measuring success by fundamentally different yardsticks. National strategies are looking at GDP growth, maybe patents filed, policy adoption rates.
Right, macro indicators.
While the HIE blueprint seems entirely focused on deployable efficiency and immediate income uplift for the individual, speed and direct economic impact at the micro level.
That really is the final synthesis of the comparison, isn't it? The U.S. innovates, China scales nationally, Europe regulates ethically. But this specific model claims its unique contribution is to empower directly.
How?
By prioritizing deployment efficiency and rapid income generation, because, the argument goes, those are the only metrics that truly matter to a worker who has just been displaced by automation and needs income now.
Okay, a stark contrast in priorities.
Yeah.
Let's shift focus then. We've heard the claims, the comparisons. Now let's look at the real-world results cited in the source material, the proof section.
Yes, this is critical. Does it actually work?
Exactly. This section needs to validate the whole framework. Does this self-funding, rapid deployment model actually deliver? The potential impact they mentioned by 2030 is enormous.
Huge numbers.
0.1 billion people needing reskilling globally. And this blueprint suggests the HIE approach could unlock something like $1 trillion in human capital value. How do they even begin to justify that kind of valuation?
Well, they calculate that potential value based on two main things. First, the sheer scale of the global skills gap that automation is creating.
Okay, the size of the problem.
And second, the measured income uplift that they report from their early regional deployments. We can look at some specific examples they provide.
Let's do that. Where have they shown results?
Okay, so in Saudi Arabia, for instance, working within the country's Vision 2030 framework.
Right, a major national transformation plan.
Exactly. The implementation there trained around 50,000 people using this model. But crucially, the reported outcome wasn't just training completed.
What was it?
It was reportedly an 83% job placement rate for those trained individuals.
83%. That's remarkably high for almost any training program, let alone one deployed technologically at that scale. What do you think makes that number so high? Is the verification process the key?
It really has to be, doesn't it? If the training is so tightly coupled with the exact needs of local employers, which the XR spatial AI tech allows by simulating the specific job tasks and assessing proficiency.
Then the skills are immediately valuable and verifiable.
Correct. The employer knows the graduate can actually do the job because they've essentially practiced it to mastery in the virtual environment. That high placement rate seems to validate the skills jobs part of the loop very directly.
Okay, Saudi Arabia high placement, income growth mentioned too.
Yes. They also reported a significant 30% average income growth for those participants who got jobs.
30% income growth. Okay. What about scale in other regions?
Well, in India, working through the government's Skill India digital initiative, they apparently trained 200,000 learners.
200,000, that's serious scale.
It is. And significantly, they did this across 12 different languages, while reportedly achieving that 72% cost reduction compared to traditional methods that we discussed earlier.
So removing language barriers and the physical training cost allows for rapid, massive scaling.
That's the implication. Lower cost and digital delivery equals faster, wider reach.
Any examples from Africa?
Yeah.
That was mentioned as a priority region.
Yes, in Africa, the focus highlighted was slightly different, more on economic empowerment for about 40,000 micro-entrepreneurs.
So not just placing people in existing corporate jobs.
Exactly. In this case, the goal wasn't only placement, but actually helping create new, sustainable local incomes through enabling small enterprise development.
So the model, the loop, seems adaptable, from direct job placement to enabling entrepreneurship.
It suggests a degree of flexibility in how the income part of the loop is realized, depending on the local economic context.
Okay, so if we synthesize all that, the overall measured impact claimed for this operational HIE model, it's pretty bold. We're talking anywhere from a plus 60% to potentially a plus 100% income uplift for participants.
Those are the ranges cited in their summary impact data, yes, coupled with that verified employment growth.
The numbers, if accurate and scalable, suggest a framework laser-focused purely on deployment speed and immediate economic impact at the individual level.
It really does seem designed for that rather than, say, long-term R&D incubation or gradual policy evolution, which is more typical of the national models.
Right.
It forces us to acknowledge, or at least consider, that those traditional national models, often built for stability and thoroughness, might be inherently slow and expensive when confronted with the sheer speed and scale of global workforce disruption from AI and automation.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? Whether you're a learner wondering about your future skills, a business leader planning strategy, or just a curious analyst trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
The source material, this HIE blueprint, it really forces a stark comparison. You have these two fundamentally different kinds of strategies playing out on the global stage. On one side, the slow, generally state-subsidized, policy-driven national giants, US, China, EU, massive resources, but slower movement.
And on the other side?
A nimble, seemingly deployment-focused, income-driven private model like HIE, designed explicitly, they claim, to counter job displacement effects, globally and quickly.
Right. So the core takeaway, perhaps, is that critical thinking right now really requires comparing these different approaches side by side. What are their real goals? What are their actual metrics for success?
Good point.
This HIE blueprint is unique, or at least presented as unique, in claiming immediate self-funding and scalable income uplift as its primary success metric.
Not just people trained or policies passed.
Exactly. Income and jobs first. And they claim it's operating live, gathering data in 80-plus countries right now. That real-time feedback loop on what actually drives economic success for individuals in the AI age is potentially very valuable.
Okay, so maybe a final provocative thought for you, the listener, building on the source material here.
Yeah.
If the core mission of this intelligent age really is about job creation and income stability, especially for the vast majority of humanity potentially affected by automation,
A big if, but let's assume it is for a moment.
then how quickly can these massive, powerful national AI strategies realistically adapt? Can they pivot to prioritize metrics like verified employment growth and aggressive cost reduction as fiercely, as urgently as this human-first blueprint claims to be doing already?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Which model, or perhaps what blend of models, truly offers the fastest, most sustainable, and most inclusive path to widespread prosperity in an AI-driven world?
Something to really mull over as you analyze the strategies shaping all of our futures.
Indeed. We'll see you on the next deep dive.